The relationship between risk and reward is universal truth. One can deduce from that truth that the first step in obtaining that reward begins with challenges and goals. And from that quest to overcome, I realize, over and over again, that there is no goal. Thus, there is no reward. My desire to seek out these challenges is the closest thing to a reward, and the only truth I can discern is a fleeting inner acknowledgement and the confidence that I'm here, present, at this instant. For outsiders, people who seek extreme experiences like this are simply adrenaline junkies. The fact of the matter is, we are not addicted to adrenaline. We are addicted to the pursuit that I just described. A ton of people do the Delmarva on their own. People cross oceans and even circumnavigate the world by themselves. So I do not mean to take myself too seriously in this short conversation, but only to tell you that I am as certain as the ebb and flow of the tides that I speak for all of us. The Delmarva Peninsula is the big peninsula that is the landmass on the east side of the Chesapeake Bay. What some do not know is that there's a little 25-mile canal that bisects the northern portion, making it possible for someone to circumnavigate this piece of land. The waters to be traversed are the most historically important waterways of the United States. The Atlantic Passage is a real open ocean passage. So a sail like this is a great stepping stone for something bigger, like a trip to the West Indies or Bermuda crossing. I've been planning to do this trip for the better part of 2018. But issues on land, work, for example, kept delaying this trip, and every week that I didn't leave made me more anxious about the upcoming hurricane season. But on June 17th, 2019, I left my home port in Shadyside, Maryland, and headed north. Cutting your teeth in the Chesapeake Bay makes you a better sailor. The weather here changes constantly and keeps you on your toes. Although this leg to Baltimore was just my first leg, I already received warnings of a severe storm approaching me from the southwest. Very high wind speeds were recorded, so this is not the time to mess around. I dropped all the sails as I got to the Bay Bridge. Although not even 10 hours have passed, I was anxious and feeling tired. First days are rough, since my body has not adjusted to being at sea. I felt slightly defeated having to motor more than half of this leg. I saw the city lights on the horizon as my Bristol 30, the Sonora del Viento, steamed up the Patapsco River. When I saw those lights, my mild feeling of defeat changed into excitement. Shortly after I anchored in Inner Harbor, the storm caught up, with clouds threatening all around me. But I was protected from the wind, waves, and also any lightning by the tall buildings and the landmass around me. I gladly traded some city noise for some safety as I made dinner and got ready to sleep. My small cabin feels very cozy during times like this. I fell asleep just about when it started to rain. I spent the first 2 days setting up for my stay here, figuring out where to shower and do laundry. The constant boat traffic and small boat rentals with tourists coming a bit too close caused me to move Sonora to a different anchorage at Canton near Fells Point. I spent a few days checking out places within walking distance and enjoyed some nightlife that Baltimore had to offer. A city's origins and life often comes from its rivers, so doing necessary excursions on the Patapsco River on my tiny 7-foot Zodiac tender never got boring. It is a different, more intimate way to experience the city. After a few days, my friends, both from DC and Baltimore, made time to see me. Spending time with my friends was one of the most fondest memories from this trip. Checking out ship museums, bars, and some sightseeing that only locals get to enjoy. I do not think I am someone who deserves all the love from the people around me. So, especially at times like this, I greatly appreciate my friends. Every ship has a soul, and the memories and experiences to go with it, intertwined with the backdrop of history. A tour on a museum ship will always stand out from other experiences you can have in a city. We had a lot of fun checking out the USS Constellation and the USS Torsk ship museums. I highly recommend it. I enjoyed the waterfront while running errands for my boat tender. A friend of mine invited me to do something better. Me and one of my friends got to crew on Sea Baltimore's charter boat, a lovely 37-foot sailboat named Wave Equation. I absolutely loved the experience, but was even happier to share it with his guests who had not been sailing before. We sailed up and down the river and enjoyed the sunset from the water. Sometimes I feel as though I say, I never want to leave this place, a bit too often, but that is not true. It is just that only those remarkable places are etched in my memory, and not the places that I merely stopped by. I could stay in Baltimore indefinitely. The beautiful anchorage that had made my home seemed to beg me to stay. But it was time for me to leave Charm City and go on to discover so much more. From here on out, I'd be sailing waters that I'd never sailed before. When there was a good weather window for my next long leg, I picked up anchor and left. The little white speck of Sonora's shape that used to be part of the cityscape was gone, as if she had never been there, and the city continued on without me. Next up, C&D Canal to Cape May. Sailing, sailing, and even more sailing. I had to push hard to make time. Because of a new persisting discomfort, I think about giving up on the circumnavigation. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, send me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see the next part of my trip, please hit subscribe. See you next time.